Ever notice how some women don't want the conversation to end? They'll keep asking you little follow-up questions, not because they need the answers, but because they want your presence. Today, we're decoding this subtle but powerful signal most men miss. It happens faster than most men realize. You're in a room minding your own business, and you notice her eyes land on you. Just as quickly, she shifts her gaze somewhere else, maybe to her phone, maybe to a friend. You could brush it off as nothing. But then, a heartbeat later, it happens again. She looks back. That second glance is never random. It's the unspoken test women use to measure if you're the kind of man who actually notices. The brilliance of the double take is in its subtlety. Its attraction wrapped in plausible deniability. If you call it out, she can laugh it off. If you miss it, she loses interest. But if you respond correctly, you separate yourself instantly from the majority of men who are either blind to signals or too overeager to chase them. So how do you respond? With control. When you catch her second look, let your eyes meet hers long enough to communicate presence. Not a stare that demands, not a glance that retreats. A balanced, steady acknowledgement. Add a faint smile that suggests confidence rather than need. That single gesture communicates volumes. You're socially aware, comfortable with yourself, and not desperate for validation. Then comes the move that most men overlook. Disengage. Turn back to whatever you were doing before the moment happened. By resuming your activity, whether that's talking with a friend, sipping your drink, or simply leaning back in your chair, you prove you're not shaken by the attention. This subtle retreat is magnetic because it flips the script. Instead of you chasing her, you invite her curiosity to grow. Why is this so effective? Because attraction isn't built by flooding a woman with attention. It's built by sparking intrigue. The double take is her opening. Your calm recognition, followed by self-assured detachment, transforms the interaction into a puzzle she wants to solve. Who is this man that noted? Says without collapsing into eagerness. Why does he smile and then return to his world? That tension pulls her in. From there, watch closely. A woman who's truly interested will escalate the signals. Maybe she'll hold eye contact longer the next time. Maybe she'll smile openly. Maybe she'll create opportunities for proximity. Each of those steps is an invitation, but only if you pass the first test with poise. Here's the real secret. Women aren't looking for perfection in these moments. They're looking for emotional stability. A man who can handle the smallest signal without fumbling communicates he can handle bigger challenges with ease. That's why the double take is so powerful. It's not about her eyes. It's about your frame. So the next time you notice that fleeting glance followed by another, treat it as the spark it truly is. Recognize it, respond with grounded energy, and return to your reality. You'll stand out instantly, not as the man chasing approval, but as the man who commands it without effort. When a woman is drawn to someone, her body often reveals it before her words ever do. One of the clearest signs appears in the small, almost unconscious movements she makes with her hands. She twirls a strand of hair around her finger, slides a ring back and forth, or adjusts a necklace that doesn't really need adjusting. These gestures aren't about grooming, they're about channeling nervous energy created by attraction. Think about it. Most people play with objects when they feel a surge of tension they can't fully express. In this case, the tension is emotional. Her body looks for an outlet, and it shows up in little patterns, spinning a bracelet, smoothing a dress hem, or lightly tugging at earrings. The action draws attention to her femininity, while giving her something to do with the energy racing inside. Now, here's where awareness makes all the difference. A man who notices these signals but stays silent lets the opportunity fade. A man who recognizes them and responds with relaxed charm sets himself apart. The right move here isn't to get serious or overly analytical. It's to match the playful energy she's showing you. For example, if she's looping her hair while she listens to you, lean in slightly and tease her lightly. Careful, you're going to tie that into a knot. Delivered with a smile, that line signals you've picked up on her behavior without making it awkward. If she's fiddling with a bracelet, you might comment, "That thing must be the most entertaining accessory ever." The goal isn't the words themselves, it's the tone. Light, humorous, confident. Why does this approach work? Because it does two things at once. First, it acknowledges the attraction without making it heavy. Second, it invites her to keep investing in the interaction, since you've shown you can handle her nervous energy with ease. Rather than freezing the moment, you keep the rhythm flowing. And don't underestimate the power of proximity. If she's fidgeting with jewelry, closing a small gap between you while delivering your playful line amplifies the effect. Your body language tells her you're comfortable stepping closer, while your words keep the mood casual. That balance of presence and humor is magnetic. Remember, though, subtlety is everything. This isn't about dissecting her every movement. It's about reading the atmosphere and adding just the right touch of acknowledgement. If she feels you're attuned, but not over-analyzing, her comfort grows, and with it, her willingness to open up further. When handled well, these tiny gestures become a bridge. What starts as hair twirling or ring spinning can quickly shift into laughter, shared stories, and deeper rapport. Attraction often begins with details most men overlook. By tuning into them and responding with charm instead of pressure, you create a dynamic where she feels both seen and at ease. So the next time you notice those playful movements, don't let them slip by. Recognize the signal, add humor, step closer, and watch how fast the connection unfolds. Human beings reveal more through posture than they ever admit with words. One of the strongest signals of attraction is the way a woman positions her body when you're nearby. You might not hear her say a single sentence that hints at interest, but her feet, her shoulders, even the angle of her torso quietly announce where her attention wants to be. Picture this. She's standing with friends, conversation flowing, yet her body tells a different story. While others face the group, she angles herself toward you. Her feet drift in your direction, her shoulders lean slightly open, her torso aligns as though magnetized. It's as if her body is whispering an invitation, even while her mouth talks about something entirely unrelated. This alignment isn't random. Posture reflects focus. When someone is invested, their frame tilts toward the source of that energy. In attraction, orientation becomes a physical tether. She's subconsciously prioritizing your presence over everything else happening around her. The mistake many men make is ignoring this. They assume interest must be loud, dramatic, or obvious. But subtle orientation is often more reliable than a smile or a laugh, because it's harder to fake. People can control words, but the body leaks truth. So, how should you respond? Start by mirroring. Angle yourself toward her in a way that acknowledges her choice without crowding. By reflecting her openness, you create a sense of harmony, almost like you're already in sync. It's not about exaggeration, just a calm adjustment that places you in alignment with her. The second part of your response is space. If she's oriented toward you, make it easy for her to bridge the gap. Step slightly aside, gesture with your arm, or open your stance as if you're inviting her into your world. This simple act communicates acceptance. You've noticed her signal, and you're creating room for engagement. Here's why it matters. Attraction thrives in environments where both people feel unpressured. By matching her orientation and subtly opening space, you allow her to lean further in at her own pace. This keeps the energy natural instead of forced. Think of it like dancing. She makes the first movement by turning toward you. You acknowledge by shifting with her. Then you clear the floor for the next step. Suddenly, the two of you are in a rhythm others barely notice, yet both of you feel it. This tactic is especially effective in social groups. When several conversations are happening, her orientation toward you separates you from the crowd. By reciprocating, you're essentially pulling her into a private channel without ever saying a word. Once that invisible bubble is formed, speaking directly to her feels effortless, even in a noisy room. Never underestimate the quiet language of alignment. A foot pointed your way, a shoulder leaning across the circle, a torso subtly angled. These are small compasses guiding you. Notice them, respond with balance, and you'll transform passive attraction into active connection. A smile can mean many things: politeness, acknowledgement, or even habit. But every now and then, you'll notice a smile that feels different. It lasts longer than a quick courtesy. It holds your attention, stretching a second or two beyond what's socially required. That's not accident. That's attraction, slipping through her defenses. This kind of smile isn't about manners, it's about presence. Her face lights up when your eyes meet, and the curve of her lips lingers just a little too long, as if she's reluctant to let the moment fade. That extra beat is where the truth hides, in the pause, in the subtle refusal to look away. The danger here lies in misreading it. Some men dismiss the lingering smile as friendliness, while others pounce on it with clumsy intensity. The smart move lies in balance. Treat it as a spark, not a finish line. So what should you do? Start with reciprocity. Let your own smile mirror hers, but don't freeze into a staring contest. Keep it natural. Let it warm your expression, and allow it to fade at a comfortable pace. Matching her energy shows you've noticed without overplaying the card. The next step is where connection begins. Add playfulness. A lingering smile begs for acknowledgement in words. It might be something as light as, "You look like you know a secret," or, "That's a dangerous grin. Should I be worried?" Delivered with relaxed tone, comments like these transform a silent cue into shared amusement. Humor is magnetic here because it shifts the interaction from surface-level recognition into a private exchange. You're not just two people smiling. You're now participants in a moment only the two of you understand. That intimacy is subtle but powerful. And don't underestimate the timing. If you respond immediately, you validate her openness. If you delay too long, the tension dissolves. The key is agility. Read the signal, reflect it, then spark conversation while the glow still lingers on her face. There's also a deeper layer. A lingering smile often signals comfort. Women rarely hold a smile around someone they distrust. If she's letting it last, it means she feels safe in your presence. Recognizing that allows you to build rapport more confidently, knowing the foundation is already positive. In social settings, this signal stands out even more. While she might smile politely at others, the one she gives you will hold weight. Notice the difference: the slight head tilt, the slower fade, the eyes that stay engaged. These details reveal who she truly wants to connect with. When you master this response, you transform fleeting smiles into springboards for interaction. One playful line can open doors to laughter, deeper conversation, and genuine chemistry. So the next time you notice a smile that hangs in the air longer than it should, don't brush it off. Match it, tease lightly, and let the exchange unfold. What starts as a simple expression often becomes the spark for something much more. When words don't say enough, touch becomes the language of choice. One of the clearest signs a woman is drawn to you is when she engineers small moments of contact. Maybe her hand grazes your arm during a laugh, her shoulder brushes yours in a crowded space, or she leans just close enough that your elbows touch. These gestures might look accidental, but more often than not, they're intentional tests of closeness. Why is this so significant? Because touch bypasses the filter of politeness. A smile can be courteous, but skin-to-skin contact signals comfort and attraction. It's her way of closing the gap without announcing it outright. If she repeats it, brushing past you again, tapping your arm while telling a story, resting a hand on your shoulder for emphasis, she's sending a message. I feel safe near you. How you respond makes all the difference. The worst reaction is freezing like you've been shocked. That turns a warm moment into awkwardness. Another mistake is overreacting. grabbing her hand, pulling her close, or escalating too fast. That can shatter the playful energy she created. The right move is calm acknowledgement. Stay grounded, let the touch land, and maintain your composure as though it's natural. Once the interaction has built some rapport, you can reciprocate in small, deliberate ways. If she brushes your arm, a gentle touch on her forearm while making a point can mirror her energy. If her shoulder bumps yours, a light nudge back during a playful comment keeps the vibe fun. The secret is moderation. Your response should feel proportional, never more intense than what she initiated. These subtle exchanges matter because they create an invisible thread of connection. Physical contact, even fleeting, produces microdoses of oxytocin, the bonding chemical. When shared in the right balance, it deepens rapport without either of you needing to articulate. That's it. It feels effortless, but it's profoundly effective. Context matters too. In a noisy bar, a touch on the arm helps cut through the chaos. At a quiet cafe, it adds intimacy to the conversation. Whatever the setting, her willingness to cross that physical boundary is a green light that she's comfortable moving closer. Pay attention to patterns. A one-time touch could be situational. Repeated contact signals deliberate intent. And when it's paired with other cues, lingering eye contact, leaning in, playful smiles, you can be confident she's drawing you in. Handled well, these moments set the stage for deeper connection. They pave the way for more meaningful touch later, but only if you show restraint early on. Calm presence demonstrates control. Gentle reciprocation shows awareness. Together, those responses tell her you're tuned in, confident and respectful of her pace. So, when she finds reasons to reach across that invisible line, brushing your arm, leaning into your space, sparking those fleeting moments of contact, don't second-guess it. Accept the signal with ease, mirror it thoughtfully, and let the silent language of touch do the work. Words can't. Words carry meaning, but tone carries emotion. When a woman is interested, you'll often notice her voice change in ways that stand out if you're paying attention. It might soften, becoming gentler than how she speaks to others. It might rise in pitch, sounding more playful or musical. Sometimes it slows down, as if she's stretching the moment she has with you. These shifts aren't rehearsed. They're natural reactions to heightened attraction. Think about the contrast. She might be speaking to friends in a normal, casual tone, but when she addresses you, her inflection suddenly lightens. Her laughter comes more easily, and her words feel wrapped in warmth. It's as if her vocal cords are broadcasting what she doesn't want to say outright. You matter more than the rest of the room. This phenomenon has deep roots. Throughout human behavior studies, researchers found that people unconsciously adjust their voices when around someone they're drawn to. It's a primal form of signaling, similar to how body language shifts without conscious intent. A softer tone signals intimacy, while playful highs suggest excitement. Both mean the same thing. You've triggered something different in her. The challenge for men is catching it without overanalyzing. Many overlook vocal changes because they're focused only on the words. But attraction often lives in how things are said, not just what's said. If her tone toward you stands out compared to how she interacts with others, that's the clue. Now, what's the best response? It begins with your own delivery. Instead of matching her pitch, you balance it with steadiness. Slow your speech slightly, drop your tone a notch, and keep the rhythm relaxed. This contrast creates polarity. Her higher, playful energy dances around your grounded, calm presence. It's a dynamic that naturally sparks tension. For example, if she teases you with a playful lilt, respond with a slow, measured reply that carries just enough edge to keep it interesting. If her voice softens, let your tone mirror intimacy by lowering volume, speaking just under the noise of the room. Both approaches signal that you've registered the shift and you're comfortable leaning into it. This response works because it demonstrates control. Anyone can get swept up in her energy, but a man who regulates his own presence shows stability. She feels her attraction heightened, yet balanced by your composure. That balance is magnetic because it reassures her subconscious. You're not only attentive, you're unshaken by emotional fluctuations. Listen also for rhythm. If she lingers on words, she's creating pauses for you to step closer. If she speeds up, she's showing excitement. Adapt subtly without mimicking. The aim is harmony, not imitation. At its core, voice is vibration. When her tone changes around you, it's a sign you've struck a chord. By grounding your own delivery, you amplify the attraction without trying too hard. She'll walk away from that exchange wondering why the conversation felt so different. And the answer is simple. You heard what most men miss. Sometimes the strongest sign of interest isn't in body language or touch. It's in the words she chooses. Pay close attention. When a woman is curious about you beyond surface-level chit-chat, that's not just idle conversation. That's investment. Signal. She asks personal, follow-up questions just to continue the interaction. Notice the difference between someone filling silence with small talk and someone genuinely seeking pieces of your story. Instead of asking, "How was your weekend?" and leaving it there, she might follow up with, "Oh, so you like hiking? Where do you usually go?" Or, "You mentioned your brother. Are you too close?" These layers of curiosity are her way of keeping the exchange alive. It's less about the answer and more about extending the connection. Now, here's where most men misstep. They either launch into long-winded explanations, hoping to impress, or they dismiss the question too quickly. Both extremes kill the rhythm. What works is balance. Give her enough of an answer to keep her satisfied, but not so much that you remove all the mystery. Response. Answer briefly, then flip the question back to her to build mutual investment. Let's say she asks, "What got you into your line of work?" Instead of a 5-minute speech about your career journey, you might reply, "Honestly, I stumbled into it after college, but I stuck around because I like solving problems." Then, without missing a beat, add, "What about you? What made you choose your field?" This does two things. First, it prevents you from oversharing and turning the spotlight into a monologue. Second, it puts her in the position of sharing personal details too, creating balance. When she invests with her own stories, her interest deepens, because people value what they put effort into. Another subtle advantage of flipping the question back is it allows you to gauge her enthusiasm. If she answered, was in detail, she's signaling comfort and attraction. If she brushes it off, you know not to overcommit. Either way, the conversation gives you valuable information without you having to pry. But remember, the goal isn't interrogation. You don't want to ping-pong with dry QA. Use her answers as springboards into shared experiences. If she says she chose her field because she loves creativity, you can respond with, "That makes sense. I can see you're the kind of person who enjoys building things from scratch." That shows you're listening while gently complimenting her. Ultimately, when a woman keeps asking you questions, she's doing it for one reason. She wants more of your time. She's stretching the interaction, hoping you don't leave. When you respond with calm confidence, brief but thoughtful answers, and then invite her to share in return, you create a loop of mutual investment. That's the foundation of real connection. Not just attraction, but rapport that lasts beyond the moment.
When a woman invests in you with her curiosity, don't waste the opportunity. Guide the moment with balance and connection. If this breakdown helped you catch what others overlook, hit the like button, subscribe to Attraction Matrix, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next chapter in understanding women's hidden signals.